1. Hello, it's me. Welcome to the Interesting Book Club. We're talking about A Song of Ice and Fire because we do that a lot.
Yes, we do.
Zach, say hi.
Hi, my name is Zach. I'm usually on here when we're discussing A Song of Ice and Fire theories.
Yeah, for the past several years, it's just been you and me doing that on the phone. But we decided to do the same thing, but with a recording device.
Really the best decision we could have made.
Yeah.
Now we can get called out on our dumb theories when they're wrong.
Yeah, or get some truly incredible credit when they're right.
Yeah, which, eventually, right?
Because,
chimpanzees are typewriters?
To my knowledge, this theory has not been put forth before.
No, I think we're the originators of this one. We did post it online a couple places, but or at least discuss it online in multiple places. But this is fresh off the top of the dome from the both of us. We pieced it together one night.
Oh, and you know what's great? We're doing it live. We're doing this live. I don't know about you, but I actually haven't checked to see if other people have mentioned this online. So I'm going to do that right now. You give us the little intro, and I'm going to check to see if anybody else has stolen our idea.
So this is a theory in 3 parts almost. Oh, shoot, hold on. Clicked the wrong button. Hold on, we got to cut that. Okay. This is a theory in 3 parts, basically. The first one is what Lady Stoneheart has in store for Jaime Lannister. We know from the end of the last 2 books, or really one big book, that's where Jaime is heading. And we also then go into how Jaime will get out of that, which is like a separate theory on top of that. And then we go into the specifics of why there are so many characters in the Riverlands right now. And the linchpin of that is that Jaime will get put on trial by Lady Stoneheart and will mirror Tyrion's trial quite a bit, with him answering for basically every sin that he has committed from the beginning of the book until now. He will demand a trial by combat, but upon realizing that his good sword fighting hand is gone and it's not quite his forte anymore, he'll switch it over to a trial of the 7, and that many of the characters who are in the Riverlands right now fit neatly, or at least there are multiple candidates who fit, competently into the roles for the trial of the 7. Now, I showed the trial of the 7 doesn't explicitly assign people to role play an aspect of the Faith of the 7, but it is neat that there could be 7 people fighting on the side of Jaime, who all in some way represent the elements of the different aspects of the Faith of the 7.
And of course, let's not discount that how strong of a role religion plays in Jaime's and Brienne's stories, both.
Yeah, yes. And very specifically, the themes of 2 of the aspects are almost eerily echoed by their specific arcs, and the rest of them are who show up in this theory are at least compatible. But I think you can definitely make a strong case, as we'll get into it, with Jaime being the father of the Faith of the 7 and sharing an eerie amount of similarities with that aspect, and with Brienne sharing a lot of similarities with the Maiden. Some of which, literal.
All right, but before we dive into that, my word, have I found some interesting things on the internet.
All right, let's hear what you found and see if I don't think I assume you have not found anybody saying the same thing as us.
Correct. I have found some incredible things, though. I found someone pitch a trial by 7 of Cersei Lannister in 2018, presumably for the last season of Game of Thrones. Man, was that person disappointed.
Yeah, well, that would have required that show to have paid attention to anything besides a surface level reading of the last few books. and also the stuff that is not books yet. But
I am seeing someone's like fanfic pitch of a trial by 7 of Jaime Lannister versus Randall Thor from the Wheel of Time.
Interesting.
And that's pretty baller.
I feel like the trial of 7 is way more fitting for Jaime than it is for Cersei, though. Like, who's surrounding Cersei? Like, if you're going to like have that large an event, like we only know of 2 trials of 7 that have happened in the entirety of Westerosi lore. Like, there's 2 very specific ones. One is from the Dunk and Egg time period, and one is from before that, and involves Targaryen nonsense as well. It'd be fun to get one.
I love Targaryen nonsense, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, it'd be fun to get one that really strikes at the heart of the like Stark Lannister conflict.
I'm seeing someone who pitched in 2012 pitched a trial by 7 of Robert versus Cersei. Should the news about who Cersei's kids are come out while Robert Baratheon is still alive?
That's an interesting one.
And that's incredible. But no, it looks like this one that we're pitching is original or pretty darn close to it.
Yeah, I think the idea of Cersei having a trial of 7, like, it makes some thematic sense, and that like the High Sparrow would like definitely honor that more so than just about anybody else in the books, because like it's a thing associated with the Fate of the 7, and as a High Septon, like he has to like abide by that. But like Catelyn, Lady Stoneheart, she is like mentioned multiple times to be incredibly faithful for the Faith of the 7, so I don't think that's much of a stretch at all. Let's say she would recognize the trial of the 7 as legitimate.
Absolutely. She, like, in Catelyn's chapters, she is one of the most, what's the word? Pious? She's one of the most pious people in the story.
Yeah. She more than once goes to pray in one of her chapters, which I'm sure another character has done that, but I'm struggling to think of who that would be. I mean, like, and the other people we see who have any amount of piety are usually going to a Godswoods or something of that sort. Or, Aeron, I guess Aeron Greyjoy is really pious, but
that's true. But
the Drowned God's a little bit different.
He's a special kind of pious.
Yeah, yes, he's pious for something far more messed up.
Yo, you think we can get a Greyjoy into this trial? By the way,
if a Greyjoy shows up in this trial, I won't be like incredibly like bewildered, but it like would it would like definitely raise a question mark.
You think we can get like Asha Greyjoy in on this?
Well, we'll get into my Asha Greyjoy theory another day when I've like put the resources together.
Okay.
Because I do have one.
All right.
But that is not today's task.
All right. Let's dive into this. I do want to note before we get in properly that this theory that you and I are about to discuss. In getting to this, we have definitely glossed over the part of the theory that I pitched, which is the trial itself. Like the verbal trial.
To be fair, that's not like a ton of theory work. I think most people would agree that that's very likely where the story is going. It's not all that much of a stretch.
I know
the stuff that we're going to expound upon is a lot more textual evidence because it's a pretty bold claim.
Yeah, but also. Like that, we're gonna dive into the trial of 7, which is gonna be sick. But I do just want to note before we do that the other trial is also gonna be sick.
Yes, correct.
That's gonna be awesome. We're gonna see Jaime Lannister give this lengthy, dramatic speech like Tyrion did, and it's gonna be great, and we're all gonna cry.
Yeah, absolutely. if you want to start sequentially, I'll give what I assume is going to be the background, and then you can talk about the first trial, because I'm assuming this is going to be like a 3 or 4 chapter arc. Because why have Lady Stoneheart come back, as you said when we first started talking about this, if she's going to show up for a collective, like, 3 chapters across 3 books, right? Why bring her back for the
Zach,
epilogue?
you get on into it. I'll be right back.
Of course. Yeah. Why bring her back for that rather good epilogue of A Storm of Swords? Have her show up very briefly in A Feast for Crows, just to have her killed off anticlimactically in the Winds of Winter. Well, that's probably not what's going to happen. What's more likely to happen is we're going to get a little bit of an arc that maybe only a few chapters and then it ends with her death, or maybe it ends with her having a change of viewpoints or change of heart or something of that sort that leads to her arc having a lot more meaning. And Jaime's probably the best vessel for something interesting to happen with Stoneheart. A lot of people talk about Stoneheart and, Jon Snow as a potential interaction, them making amends, which I always found compelling. But there's also room for, Stoneheart and her surviving kids, but those are somewhat logistically difficult. We'll get into additional tinfoil after the theory, I'm sure. But the most compelling thing can happen right now, especially with Jaime's most recent character arc, involving him messing with multiple members of the Tully family, is for Stoneheart's significance to the story to significantly involve Jaime Lannister. So I think the most likely thing, we know that Brienne is leading Jaime to Stoneheart. We don't know exactly what her plan is. But I think it's very likely that Jaime gets captured by the Brotherhood, and that we see, either from his perspective or somebody else's, him being briefly imprisoned and getting kind of caught up to speed as to what's going on there.
I agree. And then, probably in the following chapter, or the chapter thereafter, being effectively hauled in front of a courtroom with Lady Stoneheart presiding, and being hit with all of the crimes he's ever committed. And I think that might be the best scene in the series, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. That could be really compelling, and Jaime's had probably the most serious divergent character arc from where he started off to where he is now out of probably anyone in A Song of Ice and Fire. There's some other people you can make arguments for, but Jaime Lannister is being set up to be just the villain in Book 1. And even in A Clash of Kings, you're just starting to get his pivot, and by the end he's getting a lot closer. But through A Storm of Swords and A Feast for Crows, he has completely transformed into a different character. He's unrecognizable, but you still saw him get there, and it feels completely justified that he is where he's at now. And we'll talk a little bit about the specific details of that, how that helps out our theory. But I love your description of what you think the trial is going to be like. So please hit me in the audience with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, I posit, this marvelous sort of parallel to Tyrion's trial in King's Landing after the death of Joffrey, where in Tyrion's trial the evidence pointed toward his innocence, but all of the circumstantial evidence, all of the character witnesses pointed to him being a monster. And because of the character witnesses, he was condemned. I think the inverse is going to happen with Jaime. All of the direct evidence, all the things they're going to hit him with, and I'm pulling from our Reddit post, which you should go check out, by the way. They're going to hit him with everything that happened in the Riverlands under his command. They're going to hit him with his attack on Ned in King's Landing. That was one that you pitched. They're going to hit him with his family's role in the Red Wedding, of course. And in my opinion, most importantly, considering who the person presiding is, they're going to hit him with his attempted murder of Bran Stark. And of course, not to mention his most recent crime, the failure to bring back Arya and Sansa, in spite of his promises, labeling him as an oathbreaker again. All of the evidence will point to him being a monster. But the character witnesses, and I think this beautiful and really tragic parallel to Tyrion's, the character witnesses will be almost exclusively in his favor, because nobody who will be at the trial knows him as a person except for Brienne and kind of Pod. And Brienne especially is going to stand up in front of the court and say, he is not a perfect man, but he is not the monster that you all claim him to be. He is not the monster that he appears, and he deserves mercy. And there's going to be some spectacular soliloquy by Jaime to mirror Tyrion's, the one where he goes, I wish I had enough poison for the lot of you. Man, I wish we could have gotten to see Nicola Coster-Waldau do this scene.
Yeah, that would have been phenomenal.
Yeah, man.
The scenes of just him giving monologues are really good.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite scenes in the entire show is his performance in the Jaime Brienne bathhouse.
In the bathhouse, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, I
thought of this since we talked about this. He killed his cousin, right?
Yeah, he did.
We're gonna have to. Wait, he might not have killed his cousin in the books. I don't know. Things get fuzzy. But they're gonna hit him with all of his crimes, right? And he's gonna have this soliloquy, and he's going to, he might declare that he does not deserve mercy. He might say he might ask for it, but be denied. But when push comes to shove, he is going to have to do what Tyrion had to do and demand a trial by combat.
Yeah, there's no way, and I think it's going to be spelled out from him in the beginning, because in this will become useful as we get later into the theory. One of the things he's almost certainly going to see when he gets there is the body of Merritt Frey hanging from a tree.
Oh, and yeah.
That is going to be like an ominous symbol. Like, Merritt Frey was the other squire for him. I believe they were both squiring for Arthur Dayne when they were taking down the Kingswood Brotherhood.
No, it wasn't Arthur Dayne. It was somebody that I had never heard of before. I'll find it, but go ahead.
I can check too.
Yeah,
but they definitely watched Arthur Dayne
correct.
While they were there.
Correct.
Yes. They was it a Crake Hall, maybe?
Lord Crake Hall. Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
I don't think I wrote it down. It's fine. Yeah, he was squiring with Jaime, and you're right, because is it the epilogue to Storm where we see this? It's from the perspective of Merritt Frey, and he is killed by Stoneheart. We'll come back to this later. And I think you're right. As Jaime is walking into this trial, he is going to be literally surrounded by the bloated corpses of the mistakes he's
made. Yeah. I do believe that that is very likely that they're going to have like a creepy, like, hanging tree, basically, with multiple Freys and Frey bannermen and the such, just hanging from it. And Jaime will, like, see that well before the trial and know that he has no real chance to receive justice. But I think he'll put up with the trial to some extent, make some protests to like say I can still go find your daughter, stuff like that. But I think it'll be very clear that Lady Stoneheart will not be as interested in that as she was when she was alive.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you want to get into the tinfoil here? Let's suppose for the moment, just come with us on this log ride that you already strapped in for. All right, everybody, come along. We're gonna start down this rabbit hole, and it gets more and more fun the deeper we go. In a trial by 7, each side has 7 combatants. What are the 2 we've seen so far?
So I'm gonna pull up Trial 7 to make sure I get all the
Targaryen
names right. It's
Maegor and it's Duncan, right? Maegor and Duncan.
Yeah. So Maegor Targaryen during the Faith Militant Uprising, which is like a increasingly important historical event because as the books go on, that surprisingly becomes more and more relevant, especially with the High Sparrow restoring the Faith Militant. That was the first trial of 7 that we know about historically. And it was used to settle a dispute, I believe, over Maegor's rule of the 7 Kingdoms. And that was like the first big one. The first one was supposed to represent, and this is the important context of the trial of 7. You have 7 on each side because they're supposed to, by the aspects of the Faith of 7, because the Faith of 7 is technically one god with 7 aspects.
Yep, and that's why we have these 7 little slots around here. By the way, everybody.
The 7 aspects are supposed to respond well to there being 7 warriors fighting on their behalf, and you can truly know which side the gods are favoring by having a trial of 7 as compared to like a trial by combat, which there's reasons to think Stoneheart would think of as less legitimate, right? Tyrion, the very first trial of Tyrion, before the one in King's Landing, the one in the Vale.
Yeah.
That one, Tyrion, although innocent, like, did not appear that way. It appeared that he just bet well on his trial by combat. He just found a younger, quicker knight, or not even a knight, just a younger, quicker swordsman who was able to outclass a old, experienced, but, past his prime swordsman. And he got to just walk away from a trial that he otherwise probably would have been found guilty during, even if the evidence was entirely planted. But from Catelyn and, Stoneheart's position, especially now when she's very much seeking revenge, I don't think she would view just a combat by trial as legitimate, but I think Jaime can say, well, what about a trial of the 7? That's as clear as it gets, right?
Yeah.
And I think she might be willing to concede that one.
I also think that there is a thematic resonance to a trial of 7 because it is because religion does play such a big role in Brienne's and Jaime's story, and this is realistically probably going to be the zenith of their stories. After this, they become characters in their own right in the greater story of the War for the Dawn. This is the last thing that they need to deal with. Jaime accepted as he needs to go, and he has a sister to deal with. But we're not talking about that today.
We'll get into Valonqar theories another day.
Yes.
But,
and of course, Zach, this is something that you brought up. You want to tell people the last reason that we think there's going to be a trial by 7?
We'll get there when we get there.
We're metagaming here a little bit. But Zach, there's so damn many people.
Yeah, there's way too many folks in the Riverlands, and you gotta be setting up something if you have everybody within sneezing distance of each other. So I do want to point out one.
Zach, everybody's there.
That's true. I do want to point out one last thing that makes the Trial of Seven make a lot of sense, just as a thing that could happen, which is that this is probably logistically the best choice for Jaime as well, because he is not the fighter that he used to be, and he's very well aware of that. And he also, understands and admits that Brienne is a better fighter, but I think that Stoneheart might have some complications with it already wants to hang Brienne for what it's worth. I think that she might not view that as legitimate either. So I think the logistic best thing to do to get multiple people fighting on is to get multiple people fighting on his side, with Brienne being one of them. Anyways, that's all justification for the practical reasons of the trial of Jaime Lannister. Also, Tommy spelled Jaime wrong.
I always do that.
I just noticed.
We'll do one of these. How's that?
Yeah, that's definitely how it's spelled.
Is that better?
So just check. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. You say words and I'll fix Jaime's name. It's spelled dumb.
It is. Look, most names in A Song of Ice and Fire
is Jaime, right?
Jaime.
All right. You say words and I'll fix it. I'm not happy about it though.
Okay, so the big context that we're very happy about this trial of Jaime Lannister that makes us a lot more confident in it is that there are several characters in the area who are really, some of them are phenomenal fits for each aspect of the Fate of the Seven. In other ones, there's at least one decent fit, and there could be multiple good ones as well. Or multiple good ones that are a little harder to justify being there at the very least. But if we're just talking about people who are a stone's throw away, you've got a huge number of characters just in that general area, and a lot of them work really well as an aspect of the Faith of the Seven, or as I said, at least plausibly. And we'll list out everybody we think can slot into each role. And now, granted, it's going to be very easy for Stoneheart to find just 7 people willing to fight for her, because she has way more than that. She has, several dozen people in the Brotherhood Without Banners, but there's reason to suspect that some of them might have wavering loyalty, which we'll get into, and some of them might join Jaime's side. But we should probably start with how Jaime himself has slowly transformed to have an incredible amount of similarities with the father. That aspect of the Faith of the Seven. And I will pull up our little cheat sheet here.
There he is. I don't think this one is too hard to swallow. Jaime has to fight on his own behalf. You could make the argument that he's the warrior, and he might once have been, but he's not anymore. He is older and more humble.
Yes.
And without his hand, he is much less of a fighter and more of a leader.
Yeah. And he is depicted as a bearded man, which Jaime has become. Was not originally a bearded man, now is. And this show makes a big deal out of that as well. He is, is stated to protect people, which Jaime is famous for protecting the people, the innocent people, and they're all his children. He also protects his own children, literally. But the other thing that is commonly associated with the father is justice, being judged, which he's literally being judged. But he also thinks of himself as Golden Hand the Just, I believe is the name he thinks he could go by. No longer would he be the Kingslayer. He will turn his life around and be known for going around dispensing justice, generally being a good man who did the right thing and helped the realm recover through like really solid, just decisions. And when you throw all that together, he sounds strikingly similar to the father.
For sure, yeah. I don't have a lot of. I don't think we're going to get a lot of pushback on that one in particular. There is consistently over the course of his life only a couple of things that Jaime Lannister has properly cared about. One of those things is his kids. He is not perhaps doting, but he has sought for their safety and tried to do his best for them. I was rereading Feast for Crows today, and some of his interactions with Tommen are really quite touching. And I think that if you want to make the argument he's going to be the warrior, I could sure entertain it, but I don't think so. I think this is where he belongs. And he has to fight for himself. So there he is.
I should also know, and I'm glad I'm pouring through the wiki at the same time that we're rediscussing this. The only god we ever see Jaime pray to is the father. Now, in the same chapter, he says the warrior has always been his god since he was old enough to hold a sword. But that kind of like is our point, that he's transformed from somebody who represents the warrior and is slowly becoming the father. He prays to a god that he's never, or an aspect of the same god, I suppose, if you want to get the nitty-gritty, but he prays to a god that he's never prayed to before. He'd always, until his own father's death, felt like he needed to pray to the warrior for most things, but now he feels the need to pray to the father to protect somebody, specifically Brienne, which ties in real nicely with this theory.
In particular, with the next part. Which is another person that I think we can really safely slot into one of these spots. Yeah. This is the second one and the only other one that I don't think we're going to get any pushback on, right?
Yeah.
How about Brienne of Tarth? Talk to me about Brienne of Tarth.
So Brienne of Tarth is, first of all, literally a maiden, in all definitions of the word. We won't get into the anatomy of that, but she is literally a maiden. And the two times that somebody praised the maiden, well, the only person who directly praised the maiden is Catelyn. And she goes to the maiden and specifically wants to give courage to Arya and Sansa. And that is also, paralleled to Brienne being the one who has to go save Arya and Sansa. She has been promised to do so. And Brienne as well, and I'm pulling from Wiki here, so I got the quote exactly, meets a member of the Faith of the Seven at the Seven Swords Inn, and she uses their typical cover story of him looking for a missing sister, who's actually Sansa. And we'll get back to this specific quote later. The member of the Faith of the Seven says, "The crone will light your way to her, never fear. The maiden will keep her safe." And it is literally, Brienne's job to keep Sansa safe. So, Brienne being the maiden here, perfect sense as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think that if you that in similar fashion to Jaime, if you wanted to make the argument that Brienne should be the warrior, I could absolutely entertain that, right? I think that that's a totally reasonable position to take. But I think that the maiden is described as the protector of young women and girls. And that is Brienne's entire mission. The entire time we've known her. The king she liked died, and then her mission became protect Sansa and Arya. That was it. I don't know how much like this one again. I don't think that people will be able to argue with all that much. Does that mean that people won't try to be like, no, even if there is a trial by 7, Brienne's the warrior, I might say, yeah, okay, I can see it. It's another interesting subversion, right? But I think that Brienne is the maiden is the one that fits, right?
Yeah, and like as we go further down, it gets harder to place people exactly. We're starting with the ones we're most confident in and going down further.
For sure.
There's definitely like swaps you could make or questions you could ask, but I think like these ones have the most textual evidence, and I think if you were to say just on their own without any additional theory attached, Jaime is starting to resemble the father, or Brienne is starting to resemble the maiden.
And you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to give these guys a rating, right? Father, 5 out of 5, right? Jaime Lannister is the father, right? Yeah. There's not a place where he fits better. Also, we will also start to have a discussion about whether or not the people we're trying to place will fight for Jaime. 5 out of 5, Brienne of Tarth fits as the maiden. 5 out of 5, Brienne of Tarth will fight for Jaime. Extremely confident. Absolutely. If this happens, this will be the case. I don't think that I don't think that they're going to line up in front of statues of the Seven. I think it's going to be open to interpretation which person was which, but I'm very comfortable putting them here for right now. So Zach, up next we got two that I put pretty close to the same level of I don't quite know. Which one you want to put where? Which one you want to start with? You want to start with the warrior or the smith?
I thought the smith and the stranger were the next two likely ones. But let's start with the smith because we both agree that's rather likely. I think the smith is a solid.
Yeah, I'm rolling down through our little document here. We will start with the smith. I don't think that this one's a stretch. Do you think this one's a stretch?
No. The textual evidence is pretty direct in this case.
Drum roll, please.
We don't even know how to drum roll. Everybody knows you're typing it.
There it is. I know. Everybody knows. He's there, and he's the smith. All right, he's there. He's the smith, and I posit that he is unlikely to have to be all that pleased to be working with a zombie.
Yeah, I think Gendry probably is not super happy as to where he's ended up.
It might not be accurate to call him Gendry Waters because he doesn't know that he is that he's highborn. But whatever, I'm going to leave it that way.
Fight nerds. He's just kidding. But if we're playing the Crusader Kings 2 mod, he'd be Gendry Waters, so that's fine. So Gendry's literally a smith. So like that's like perfect as far as that parallel goes. But
the smith is described as putting the world of men to rights.
Yes.
Furthermore, there's the motif of cripples, bastards, and broken things.
Yes.
Which I think this was a U pitch. That makes for a very nice parallel between Jaime and Gendry, right?
Yes.
Because Gendry is a bastard and Jaime has lost his hand.
Yes, and the smith men's broken things. Yes.
We know that Gendry is a natural fighter. This is established many times. He is the child of Robert Baratheon, and he's real mean with a hammer.
And Robert Baratheon famously fought with a hammer. Hammers and his bloodline are strongly associated.
And of course, let's not forget, is a blacksmith.
Yes.
He's a blacksmith. If you want to argue with me about Gendry here, you have to argue with is a blacksmith.
The only thing we can't say 100% for sure is which side he would fall down on in this fight. But
I could see a compelling argument for Gendry fighting for Stoneheart's side. I wouldn't come down on that side, but I could see somebody making that argument. I would certainly entertain it. You know what? I'm going to put up here and also
I should note that Brienne and Gendry both saved each other's lives when they were attacked by Rourke and Miter.
Oh, right. So, he does have a previous relationship with Brienne.
Yes. They do have that, connection. And I think that there's a potential that Gendry would be like, I can't, like, this woman and I, like, saved each other's lives. Like, I'm not gonna, like, let her get executed. Gendry did accompany Brienne when she was taken captive, but then returns back to the inn he's staying at. But I think that, like, once he realizes how much danger she's in, he could potentially switch sides.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. When Brienne and Jaime are standing in the center of the hall and casting around looking for people to help them, Gendry, I can see Gendry being one of the people who raise his hammer and say, actually, screw these zombies. They've been killing Freys and pretty much indiscriminately. I don't like fire zombies. Let's go. This is fine.
I should note there's this exchange between Brienne and Gendry. My lord, says Brienne. Gendry replies, Lord, I'm just a smith.
Fine. I'd also like to point out that Brienne is consistently called the Maid of Tarth. Just slipping that one in there.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Moving on. I don't think anybody if this happens, Gendry's the Smith, right? How we ranking that? I'm ranking that a 5 out. I'm ranking it a 4.5 out of 5.
And it's really whether he's fighting on Jaime's side that's questionable.
Yes. I guess there's a world where he just like dips.
But I don't think that's likely. I think it's just going to be a 14-person brawl. Gendry is going to be one of those people.
Because I'm sitting here as we were talking about this, I'm like, you packed all these characters in here. Which one of them's going to run away? I think the answer is nobody.
Yeah, I think that'd be underwhelming. No, I feel like there's the Warriors are one we could talk about next. I feel like there's a dark horse candidate in the running here.
Oh, do you have a long pass for the Warrior? Because I thought we had the Warrior locked up.
I think there's a long shot second one that we could mention, but I think we have the number one. I agree is the strongest candidate.
Oh, yeah, number
there's
one.
A couple of them where you've got options, but I think you can put down the name Podrick Payne. I think he is the most likely to fill in this role.
Oh yeah,
especially with his connection to Tyrion, and of course his connection to Brienne.
Yeah,
he's like the perfect bridge here.
And again, I've been rereading Feast. Every single time Brienne and Pod get into trouble, Pod is like, "No, I want to fight. I'm a squire. I can fight. I want to fight."
Yes.
Also, he's awesome. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
He's spectacular, right? I love the idea. This is the one that I bet they get to the end, right? They have a bunch of their volunteers, and then Podrick wiggles out of his noose or something. But we'll get to the other volunteers first. I actually think that Pod will probably be the first volunteer. Jaime will announce, they will announce it, and then Pod and Jaime will Pod and Brienne rather will form up around Jaime.
Yeah.
Connection to Tyrion, of course.
Yes.
Connection to Brienne.
And there's some great connections here. We'll get to the big one in a little bit, but he has always had like this connection to heroism and such. His dog, when he was young, was named Hero.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yes, he's a dog named Hero, and the other important thing is that in addition to being prayed for courage, the other thing the warriors prayed for is to protect people, to watch over soldiers and protect them in battle. And the other Lannister connection here is that when Podrick Payne was the squire for Tyrion Lannister, he literally did watch over Tyrion, protect him, and save his life. It was Mandon Moore, I believe, who was attacking Tyrion.
You guys watching at home, by the way, will note that these notes are getting longer as we go, and they're not. That trend is not going to change.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that is probably all the justification we need to give. That's pretty, believable. But I should note that there's a dark horse candidate for this one if you're not sold on Podrick, because Edric Dane is there as well, and I think that him as a warrior is not all that much of a stretch.
Yeah.
But we'll put the less likelies, we think. Maybe in parentheticals as alternative, put an alternative candidate list underneath the ones we think have alternative candidates.
Yeah, we'll put them in the corners, and we'll put little arrows, because I think I think we could have we could swap some around, right? We could move Jaime to the warrior if we wanted to, maybe, and then move the candidate for the mother to the father if we want to. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think we're pretty settled on the stranger, though.
Yeah, I'll let me put Ned up in the corner as Ned Dane. Is that how you spell Dane?
It's Dane.
Ned Dane?
You're better spelling Dane than you are. You're better spelling Dane than you are Jaime.
Dang it! I did it again, didn't I? Okay. No, it's not me that's bad at spelling Jaime. It's everyone else that's bad at spelling Jaime.
That's fair. I can see that argument. I can see why you'd think that.
Take this one. Take this. Get this. Whoa. There it is. Ned Dan? Ned Dan?
Yeah.
Wait. Ned Dan?
So I think we're pretty settled on the stranger.
Oh yeah.
It's just it's another long pass, but there's one good candidate for it with some textual.
Wait, we need a score for Pod and a score for Ned.
I don't think we score the alternatives. I think Podrick is a solid 4 out of 5.
I think honestly, I kind of want to give him a 5 out of 5. Right.
I think
is there a world where he lets Brienne fight alone?
No, he's got to be one of the people. It's just whether he's a warrior or not. But I think the warrior is indeed the best fit for him. So maybe 4.5.
We'll give him a 4. We'll give him a 4. We'll give him a 4.5. He does not go below Gendry.
True.
Right. There we go. There he is. 4.5 out of 5. You want to make the argument that, Podrick gets told, no, you're not allowed to fight. You instead have to run and warn somebody or something like that. I don't know. But I like it. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the stranger.
Oh yeah.
So
you know who it is.
Before we do the long pass here, I just want to read a little bit about the stranger. The stranger is an outcast, the wanderer from far places, less and more than human, unknown and unknowable. His face is the face of death. He leads the newly deceased to the other world. Those who feel like outcasts might light a candle for the stranger. That's directly from the wiki.
Keep going. Keep going. We don't even need to say the name. People know. We're going to get there. Face of death. Outcast. Come on, keep it going.
And I think the important thing is leads the newly deceased to the other world is the big hint here. It sounds a little bit like a grave digger, if you will.
Sounds like a grave digger.
Yeah, so
Keep going.
no, I feel that's the quote there. I should note that the all the other evidence I have requires us to name drop the person, and it's Sandor Clegane.
Oh yeah.
Stranger Sandor Clegane.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh yeah, it is. I'm gonna move this down here, and I'm actually gonna put it. I don't know where I'm gonna put it. Actually, we're gonna put it right here.
Hold on. Let me type in my last bits of evidence for this. Let you type in the last bits of this before we put the name there.
What I'm actually gonna do is will probably hate fire zombies.
And there's another big piece of textual evidence, which is the name of Sandor's horse. Do you remember the name of his horse?
I do remember the name of it. Has a horse named Stranger. Do we have the name of the Redditor who gave us that, by the way? Because that slipped both of our minds.
Yeah, that was like a pretty like fucking obvious one. Are we allowed to swear on your channel?
I don't know. Depends. Has a horse named Stranger.
Thank you to Pookie2222.
Thank you, Pookie.
Pookie2222.
Thank you, Pookie. Let's see.
Pookie's Blair on the subreddit is what happens on Skagos stays on Skagos,
which is pretty good. That's pretty good.
We'll mention that again when I get my Skagos theory.
Let's see. Yeah, what else we got in here for the? He's at the Quiet Isle, which is very close to the Brotherhood's hideout. Not like close, but definitely close enough to get there. How is he going to get there? Does that matter? Don't argue with me on this. He's going to get there.
He and Arya specifically walked like fucking through the entirety of the Riverlands. Like, it's not like he hasn't done it before.
Don't mention Arya, because then we have to talk about Arya.
We'll get to the Arya possibility in a second.
And finally, is due for a trial by combat. He's due.
He's got to do one for prep for another.
Yeah. Looks like Clegane Bowl's back on the menu, boys. Sandor Clegane. And I'm trying to like shove Sandor like off to the right here, because I feel like we're gonna need some room under the crown.
Yeah.
And I also do feel the need to right now do one of these and type the word Arya.
Oh, you're gonna need to put Arya in this place where that can hit, where her arrows can hit two different contenders.
Where you want her?
No.
Over here?
Right up. No, up a little bit.
Up here?
Right. Move over left a little bit, just so it's easier to draw the arrow to the stranger. It's hard. Okay, look.
Well, you want her? Oh, you want her connecting to the mother?
The mother and the stranger, yeah. I think are the two things you could.
Do you think you can? I don't know if you can make the argument for the mother. I'll put it here. I'll put it here so you can.
I will make that argument later.
All right.
I think it actually holds merit.
We'll do that one first. We'll do right here, and then we'll get this, and then this, and then this, and then we'll do one of these. Whoop. There it is. And now you say words, and I'm gonna move this crone up because we need more room. That one's gonna be wild. Yeah. We're not doing the crone next, but we're gonna.
Why don't you just swap mother and crone? We actually have more room. Like we only have one. Well, actually, we have two-ish candidates for the crone. I guess technically three, because there's the crone on the other side. It's pretty obvious that we'll talk about. But
a pox upon you.
Yeah, crone could fit up there.
We're gonna put it right here. So now look at all that space we have. Yeah, we'll do all that.
Okay,
that's fine.
Okay.
It's gonna be weird, but it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, the crone is a theory upon theory, because we had to craft another theory to make this work.
We did. We moved to get to that one, but we can't do that one yet, right?
No.
We got to do the mother first.
So.
Hold on. Give me a rating for Sandor.
For Sandor,
honestly, I'm kind of feeling like maybe one of these.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if Arya shows up as a literal stranger, and like obviously the stranger in comparisons to the many-faced god, and the Faith of the Seven in general is a many-faced god. Like I'm sympathetic to that, but like I think Sandor is like just a perfect like fit for somebody who like he represents the stranger in the same way that Jaime represents the father almost clearly. It's just whether he's likely to fight for Jaime or show up at all that's the questionable part. Like if you were to say that Sandor Clegane has perfectly transitioned into the stranger and represents him entirely, he has like checked every box.
We can have both. We can have Arya shows up wearing Sandor Clegane's face.
It's possible.
Which actually, now that I say out loud, is actually kind of resonant because he has such a distinctive face.
That's true, but then we have to think about how faceless men get access to faces, which is a whole nother theory and a half. I'm sure one of our videos will get to that someday.
Yep.
Because it's one of the more like implied horror elements of Song of Ice and Fire. And we love those.
Confirmed. Okay, so why don't we move on to the last one that doesn't require crafting additional theories? Crafting additional identities.
For me, the two candidates for the mother, one is Arya, who we'll get into, and the other one, I feel like it's like neck and neck now in my mind, now that I've thought about it more. But the other one's the Blackfish, and the Blackfish requires some justification, like what, Brendan Tully fighting against another Tully. Well, you can view it that way, right? But it's not him fighting against another Tully. It's him finding his favorite niece turned into a horrifying zombie creature, and realizing that's probably not the best outcome for her.
Yeah, I really liked what we wrote on this subject. Can I read a little bit from our article?
Please do.
Quote, Brendan, being a man of honor, caring more for family than anything else, must fight. For the good of his family, in service to the Tully words, the Blackfish must eliminate the undead embodiment of vengeance that has absorbed Catelyn Tully. The mother represents family, the mother represents duty, and the mother represents honor. And most importantly, the mother represents mercy, which is what Brendan will bring to Cat. If he sets sight on his favorite niece and what has become of her, I challenge anyone to make the argument that he will be on her side. No, he will look at her with this horror and say, this is not my niece. Whatever this is, it needs to be killed. And then we all of us have to stop and ask, why would he be there? Zach, why would he be there?
Why would Brendan be in that area?
Yeah.
If not for showing up purposes? Good question. You could just say that George R. R. Martin got a little too lost in the Riverlands and just like he put too many characters there. But we like to think that there's a purpose behind all these things, and usually in these books there is. I should note there is a little bit of evidence towards this. When Catelyn prays to the Seven, she sees her own mother's face in the face of the mother, and the only other time she mentions her mother's face is saying that she cannot remember it perfectly when her father is dying. But Blackfish there, he says, I remember your mother's face perfectly. And I think that's an interesting little bit of information there. Blackfish remembers exactly what his brother's wife, who died in childbirth, looked like. And then we can get into the additional theory of Brendan never married. A lot of people think Brendan's gay. I actually don't fully agree with this. I think that he quite possibly had strong feelings for the woman who married Hoster Tully, and viewed like all the marriage offers that Hoster was giving to him that were not her as sort of like an insult. Like, I see, I'm not good enough for her, so you're just offering this woman instead. Screw that. I'm not going to marry this person out of spite. But there's like one line of evidence towards that and 0 lines of evidence towards him being gay, other than he hasn't been married. So it really, like, you take your pick.
And deeply unfortunately, I think that the characterization as the mother works in either case. It works in. I think it works in your case toward the crone. Is that correct? Like long lost love years and years and years ago.
That could be the case. Yeah, there's an argument that he is like a male version of a crone as well.
Yeah,
if you want to make the crone argument,
and we can do that. Or if we do take it at face value, I'm sorry, if we do take as reasonable the assertion that the Blackfish is gay, we can also say that it is possible that George R. R. Martin might have characterized him as the mother because of some, let's say, outdated opinions.
I'm not gonna say that about Gurm there. I think
I ain't assuming anything. I am saying that is something that could have happened.
But I think the idea of him as a crone, like a male version of a crone, is not ridiculous at all. I think that like old wizened and wise could definitely describe the Blackfish, but our crone theory is too good. And I should note that Arya should have an arrow pointing here. Good arrow. I didn't even notice you drawing it. Arya is known by the other name of Mercy, and the thing we hear about all the time is the mother's Mercy, and there's like a legit mother connection here, because Stoneheart is Arya's mother, but that
bring her the mother's mercy.
Bring her the mother's mercy. Yeah, it'd be a very interesting twist on the phrase if Arya was the one to bring mercy to her own mother.
Something, I kind of like our lineup if we move Brynden Tully to the crone and Arya to the mother.
I do. We'll discuss that after we do our additional tinfoil, because we put a lot of research into that.
Oh, yeah, and it gets and Arya showing up here at all would be wild, because she's on the other side of the world.
Well, she's on the other side of the narrow sea. If she wants to get back from Bravos, she's gonna have to end up in Salt Pans, which is right there. But that also assumes that Arya just up and leaves the House of Black and White at the beginning of the Winds of Winter, which I think is more likely to happen at the end of the Winds of Winter, or near the end of the Winds of Winter. We also don't know how fucking long this book is.
That's true. And is it possible that she gets back in time? Yes. I don't know about it though.
This is gonna have to be one of the things that starts off very early and wins.
Yeah, she would need to leave within her first. I would wager her first 4 or 5 POV chapters if she's gonna make it back.
Yes, and that seems questionable. But Arya is a fun thematic fit here as well. And Brynden Tully has that connection as well.
Yeah, Brynden Tully is the mother. What do you think? What's our rating on Brynden Tully as the mother?
I think it's 50-50, with Arya being most of the other half. I have a real Valyrian tinfoil throw for this one as well that I thought of, but
we're gonna give this a 2 question mark out of 5. because the theories are getting weirder. I don't know what I'm going to use on the last one, but it's going to be fun.
If you want to put one with 2 question marks over in the top left corner, I do have a very, very, very long past that has just as many timeline and like how the hell did she get there issues.
Oh my god! What? Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold the phone here.
Just do in the top left corner with like 2 or 3 question marks.
Who is this?
It's Asha Greyjoy, and I realize this is almost certainly not the case.
What do you mean it's Asha Greyjoy?
This is a teaser for one of my future videos where I'll give you the Asha Greyjoy is pregnant theory.
You're getting the triple question mark. You're in the triple question mark treatment. So wait. Not only is Asha Greyjoy fighting, Asha Greyjoy is fighting pregnant?
She is pregnant and will show up to this fight pregnant. She'll be there for reasons presumably related to searching for Theon, even though they found him, or trying to get someone to. So this will tie into Theon and the invalidating of the King's Moot and a bunch of other stuff. I still have like rough notes on my Asha is pregnant theory, but there are reasons she might want to go to find like Stark Bannerman, and the Brotherhood would be a good place to like find people who knew, because a lot of the people who did know Theon, actually I think most of the people who did know Theon back in the day are like dead or gone, but Harwin is there specifically, who was a Stark Bannerman, is very much still alive. And if they want to prove that Theon is Theon still, when he looks completely different, like the show does not do it justice how much Reek does not look like Theon Greyjoy, that they could have him show up on the Iron Islands to prove that he was, wrongfully denied a spot at the King's Moot. There's the latecomer precedent that could make him in charge of the Iron Islands and knock Euron off of the, chair.
I gotta tell you how much I love the Theon latecomer theory.
So this is tied into the Theon latecomer theory, which is also tied into my Asha Greyjoy is pregnant theory. But we'll get into that one later. That's a whole other video.
We can't do that now.
Yeah, because we're about to get into another crazy theory on top of this theory,
which is arguably crazier than Asha Greyjoy is pregnant.
Yeah, like we have the setup. We watched Asha Greyjoy have sex. Like the Asha Greyjoy pregnant theory. It's just some textual evidence on top of that.
It's ironclad. Oh, ironclad. That fits.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Let's start, because we got to this point, right? We got to this point while we were talking about this. This was at like hour 3.5 of discussing this theory the first time. It was like
Actually, it was right at, I think it was right at the 4-hour mark.
Right at the 4 hour. Perfect. And we got to this point where like, okay, we got candidates for 6 slots. We need a 7th. We need a crone. Who's the crone? Why don't we start with a description of how the crone is portrayed?
The crone is, and I should note, we get the one wonderful quote about the crone, but I will bring that up right afterwards. Crone is an old, wizened-wise woman whose statues often show her with a raised lamp in one hand. People pray to the crone for wisdom and guidance.
Okay.
Now,
we're going to throw that right there. All right, it's right there.
Now, I should note that there's a lot of wonderful Crone Stoneheart parallels that you could say that Lady Stoneheart being there is the Crone in her own right, but like that doesn't. She's definitely not going to be fighting on Jaime's team. That would invalidate the whole. But I would like to briefly mention the Crone Stoneheart parallels, which is Catelyn is the only person we ever see praying to the crone directly, and she says, and this is a quote on the Crone's page on the Wiki of Ice and Fire: "Guide me, wise lady. Show me the path I must walk. Do not let me stumble in the dark places that lie ahead." Which is a literal sense of, guide her path, but also is kind of eerily similar to get me out of the horrible dark things that are going to happen to me, which ironically comes true. But the thing I want to bring up here is a very minor character. Don't believe they show up in the show at all. I believe they only appear in a single chapter of A Storm of Swords. They are the epitome of a character who is there for barely any time at all. I think half a chapter.
Who are we talking about?
This person that we're making the pass for on the Crone.
This guy? Oh no, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Yeah, the Lady of the Leaves. Is someone who meets the Brotherhood Without Banners and is looking for information about where Barrack is. And she actually does guide them a little bit through the area that she's in. She's experienced with going through a thickly forested area. And she lives in a little, village that is hidden in the trees. She might actually live in a treehouse, which some people speculate that she's actually a member of the Children of the Forest, but I think that's not especially likely, especially that down low in the Riverlands, when the only Children of the Forest we've seen are north of the Wall. But the idea there's hidden Children of the Forest colonies is not completely unsupported, so that's a possibility. No, I wish I had saved the Reddit comment I'd first read it on, but there are some people that speculate the Lady of the Leaves is a member of the Kingswood Brotherhood we mentioned earlier. I'm going to make sure I'm getting her name right, because she's purely a character that's mentioned in passing. It's Wenda the White Fawn. Wenda the White Fawn would be an old lady now.
So why do we think that Wenda the White Fawn, even if we accept that Wenda the White Fawn and Lady of the Leaves are the same person, which we have not yet demonstrated, why do we think that why do we think that Wenda the White Fawn is relevant in any way?
Can I read directly from the Storm of Swords epilogue?
Oh, please do.
I can find it here. Let me pull it up.
I believe there is a reference to... Oh, yeah, go ahead. You got it?
Yes, I got it right here. This chapter is the Merritt Frey chapter. We talked about Merritt Frey.
Yeah.
He talks about how he hates outlaws and bandits, and he hates the woods. He says earlier in the chapter, outlaws stole my life. And then he says this: no good ever came from dealing with outlaws. The context here is that outlaws have kidnapped another member of the Frey family, and he's going to pay the ransom. No good ever came from dealing with outlaws. That vile little bitch Wenda had burned a fawn into the cheek of his arse while she had him captive. No wonder his wife despised him. I have to go through this. Peter Pimple might be the lord of the crossing one day. Edwin has no sons, and Blackwalder's only got bastards. Peter will remember who came to get him. He took another swallow, corked the skin up, and led his pale Frey through broken stones, gorse, and thinned, wind-whipped trees, following the sounds of what had been the castle ward. Fallen leaves lay thick upon the ground. like soldiers after some great slaughter. A man in patched, faded greens was sitting cross-legged atop a weathered stone sepulchre, fingering the strings of a wood harp. The music was soft and sad. Merritt knew the song. High in the halls of the kings who are gone, Jenny would dance with her ghosts. Get off there, Merritt said. You're sitting on a king. This is Merritt running into the first members of the Brotherhood Without Banners, who later put him on trial and hang him. Well, not even put him on trial. The only justice he gets is that they put him in front of Stoneheart, who deems him guilty by nodding that he participated in the Red Wedding, and for his crime he is sentenced to death. Which you could say he is judged guilty by Lady Stoneheart, and that is still technically correct, just not in the way we're implying about Jaime. But the important thing is that it goes right from him thinking about how Wenda had branded him to directly the Brotherhood Without Banners, and the only thing in between is fallen leaves lay thick upon the ground.
And I think that we should note that of all of the people we have discussed so far, she is an extremely seasoned fighter.
Yeah, she survived the Kingsguard coming after her during a time when Arthur Dayne was on the Kingsguard. Like, we don't know if she lived or died, but we know that it's never mentioned if she died. It's sort of implied that, like, Knight of the Laughing Tree was killed. We know that for a fact. One of the other ones definitely is still alive because he's actually on the wall and hangs out with Jon. He took the black. But that sort of implies that, like, some of them did survive because one of them was able to surrender, right? Which means that some of them being able to get away is entirely possible. And George R. R. Martin loves having people who we thought were dead living under different identities, doing other things with their life. We get a lot of that. We get that with Bloodraven. We get that with John Connington. We get that, if you believe it, with Aegon as well. Although there's reasons not to believe that one, obviously. There are plenty of cases where the author has done this in the past. So just having the crone here be the Lady of the Leaves would be kind of like, oh, well, that's kind of minor and does not have anything to do with Jaime. But if it's somebody who Jaime fought against when he was, a young man, a squire, then, like, that means something. That means something very, like, particular for him, because it's the beginning of his life coming back. It's the idealistic version of the knight he would become, being brought back. And that, for his, like, full rebirth into a genuine good man who does good things, that being brought back is meaningful to the story.
I think that is my favorite. That was the part that sold me, right? So to tell the story, Jaime and Merritt and a number of other individuals were fighting the Kingswood Brotherhood, and Jaime, this was the one time, this was one of the few combats where Jaime got to show his valor and honor as a knight before killing Aerys Targaryen. And importantly, Wenda will have seen this. She will have seen Jaime directly. We know that at the very least, she got close enough to brand Merritt Frey, whether that be through capture or just briefly. She maybe fought Jaime directly, maybe went toe-to-toe with him, maybe saw Jaime while he was fighting other members of the Kingswood Brotherhood, but she saw him. She saw him fighting as a knight, a noble knight fighting against her for the right reasons, which makes her one of the few people on the continent who knows of Jaime from a time before he was called Kingslayer.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think that's really important.
Well, and that's, as you're mentioning how we love the bathhouse scene. The whole thing is he feels a curse to be, like, you know, the person who is known as Kingslayer forever. The man who, like, you know, forever has to live with the shame that he killed the one man he was supposed to defend. And that, like, yeah, that absolutely could be, like, hurtful to him to, like, not have that, like, connection to the past anymore, to not know anybody who knows him when he was. Like, Tyrion remembers that. Cersei remembers that, but Cersei, as he has spent the last book realizing, might not be the best person, and also might not care about what his life means to him. Tywin remembers that, but he's also never very supportive of him going out and being a knight. And, like, Barristan remembers that, but, like,
Barristan's gone.
Tyrion's gone. Tywin's dead, and, like, Cersei, like,
Cersei is Cersei.
Doesn't care. Cersei, yeah.
And the fact that he might, in these same woods, not too far away, because this is a relatively minor character who has interacted with these characters that we're discussing, with Brother Without Banners before. That the resonance of him meeting a person who remembers him before he was branded a monster is really significant, I think. And of course, it would be awesome, and we can't discount that.
Any theory is better by being cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to give this a pog out of 5. Yeah, something like that.
I think it's built on a tower of tinfoil that I'm sure some people are gonna. I can't wait for us to, like, consult other folks on this who have read the books with no, like, who are not there for the 5-hour theory crafting session we had, to see if this, like, tracks, or if this looks like that one, like, meme of Charlie from It's Always Sunny with, like, the stuff up on the wall and everything.
And, like, you know what? That's okay, because that's not the point, right? Because by hour 4 of this madness, we were no longer trying to build the base theory. The base theory was built, and I think it's real solid, dude. Like our 5 out of 5s and our 4 out of 5s, and even our Sandor, I think that they're pretty solid. And if you want to swap out the Mother and the Crone, or, like, move Arya to the Mother and Brynden to the Crone, you want to move some people around, that's okay. But I think the idea of a trial by 7 of Jaime Lannister is really good.
We didn't mention this because it's not canon, but it is officially supported. There is a card game, like not like a collectible card thing, but like I think it plays similar to, like, Dominion or something like that, where it's all cards that do things. But there is a official art for the Lady of the Leaves, and she is an old woman holding a light in the darkness, an actual lantern. And I'd like to go back to that one quote for Brienne. The crone will guide her, and the maid will keep her safe. For her missing sister. And this allows us to get into the section that, warning, pure tinfoil. Everything past this is not part of the theory. We're not even going to write it down.
Excellent. No. You said we're in the pure tinfoil section, so I'm writing this down. I started writing this before you said we're not writing this. Put it to get down here. Yeah, right there. You go, yeah, there you go. Okay. Give me that. Give me that. And
It's a different color.
whoop, you don't gotta dunk on me like that.
I'm warning you before you make a mistake further.
There it is.
Oh, that's not where I was going with the pure speculation.
Yeah, but I just wanted that in there.
Yeah.
You know, as we start to delve into the pure tinfoil theories, I just want to start off with this one so that people know that these aren't the basis of the theory. What do you think of Catelyn Tully? At the beginning of the trial by combat, Jaime's team isn't able to find a crone, so Catelyn is like, "Well, yeah, I'll do it."
No, that doesn't make sense because there's no. You don't literally represent the seven in Trial of Seven. As funny as that would be, also, the Trial of Seven ends, and this is what also has me sold on it being a Trial of Seven. The Trial of Seven ends when the accuser no longer considers the accused guilty. They can retract their claim of guilt at any point and say, it's over. It's done with. Like, I no longer think you're guilty. Which seems like the more optimal end to this, and it also ties in completely, perfectly with the additional tinfoil that I was setting up. So warning for anyone who is watching, for any like YouTuber with 50,000 subscribers who wants to follow up on this, and please do. We would love to see it. Give us credit, but this is not part of the theory. This is just.
No, you know what? You know what? You dissected my Catelyn Tully meme to such a degree. I'm going to countermand that. We believe in all of this, and the theory is worthless if these aren't true. Go ahead.
We have a very slight nuanced difference of opinion there, but yeah, the best way for this to end is what if Sansa shows up during this? What if Sansa happens to be walking through the Riverlands, and there's reasons to believe this. This, of course, requires another bit of tinfoil to pile yourself up on that we'll probably do a video about later. It's not our theory. It's somebody else's theory. But it doesn't need to be completely true for it to work out this way, but we know there is Sir Shadrich the Mad Mouse.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Directly, told Brienne directly, I'm looking for Sansa Stark because there's a bounty on her head that Varys has made out, and I'm gonna go take her alive and bring her back to King's Landing and make hella money. If he is just going straight to King's Landing, he would cross the river at Salt Pans. It's the quickest way to get there without taking a boat. So, like, that means he'd be right nearby. But there's another theory, which is Sir Shadrich is actually Howland Reed, which means he could be heading to Greywater Watch. This would send him in a more straight line north, but there are a lot of reasons he could not go directly that way, because he might want to throw off Peter from his trail by going in the opposite direction, because the obvious thought that I think Peter would have if somebody rescues Sansa is they're taking her up north, back home. Or at the very least, I can see him making that call, depending on whether he thinks the person who captured her was looking for the bounty, which I think is less likely, and we'll get into, and is part of the reason why I believe that he might be Howland Reed. Whether this person has good intentions for rescuing her or not, but assuming that he does, he would probably think she's going up north. And also the reason why it seems unlikely that the Mad Mouse is looking for the ransom, the bounty on Sansa Stark, is because, well, Varys is gone. Varys famously disappeared. This is pretty well-known information. People discuss him being gone ever since Tyrion escaped. It seems weird that, that information would not have gotten to the Mad Mouse, which makes me think that that's just a cover story. But I don't need to justify him being Howland Reed too much for this additional part of the story.
We're already at the bottom of the tinfoil roll. He's Howland Reed. He's Howland Reed.
We'll do a Who the Hell is Howland Reed stream someday.
Yeah, he's Howland for right now. He's Howland Reed. Just roll with it.
Either that, or he is heading that direction anyways.
Yeah, whether he's Howland Reed or not, we know that he wants to obtain Sansa Stark, and if he obtains Sansa Stark, and happens to be moving through the Riverlands,
he could show up at the proper time. Perhaps even Wenda could be the one guiding her. Like, they need navigation through a heavily forested part, maybe to throw Peter Baelish off their trail. We'll get back to that. And the crone, Wenda the White Fawn, or the Lady that Leaves, if you don't believe our additional tinfoil, guides her into a place where Jaime is gathering for a fight. And all of a sudden, she pops out into the middle of the fight. And it's immediately stopped, and Stoneheart retracts her claim that Jaime is guilty because Sansa is there after all. Sansa is literally here at the fight. And his promise that she would see Sansa again has come true. Then, either in the same scene or the following scene, Peter Baelish, hot on the trail, Littlefinger hot on the trail of Sansa. Oh goodness, it's going into the image. Could show up, try and capture Sansa again, and it could be pieced together by the folks there, and especially Stoneheart, Littlefinger's role in everything. And Sansa would know. She's been living with him and getting tied to the really complicated politics of the Vale. She would know that he's been a manipulator this whole time, and she could explain to Stoneheart that it was Littlefinger who caused all this chaos, who did all these terrible things, and of course, Sansa knows that Littlefinger murdered Lysa Arryn, who was Lysa Tully, who was Catelyn's sister. So we could see Littlefinger get his death from the show by the hands of Lady Stoneheart, which would be chef's kiss. It is just the most beautiful ending to that character, is him dying at the hands of the woman he has been obsessed with his entire life.
Oh yeah,
he very much thinks that he and Catelyn are fucking meant for each other, to the point that it's honestly kind of creepy and revolting. To watch him be put to death by Lady Stoneheart would be the perfect culmination of his character. Imagine, as we were talking, it was 2:30 in the morning. We were talking about this, and this, I was hogged out of my mind. Let me paint the scene for you here, everybody. Let me paint the scene. Suppose Jaime, Pod, Gendry, the Hound, Brynden, Brienne, and Wenda are all on the same team. Let's say Arya's there too for kicks. She got all the way across the narrow sea. She's just watching because she's creepy. Meanwhile, Sansa has been spirited away by somebody, possibly Howland Reed, possibly Ashara Dane. We don't got to talk about it. She's been spirited away by somebody. We can get into Howland Reed's married to Ashara Dane stuff another day. No, Ashara Dane is a faceless man pretending to be Howland Reed. She's and also Quaith. Ashara has taken. Howland has taken. Who is it? Who's the Mad Mouse? The Mad Mouse has taken Sansa. Yeah, the Mad Mouse was also Quaith. The Mad Mouse has taken Sansa from the Eyrie. They have come down from the Eyrie. They're in the Riverlands. Littlefinger is pursuing them. They're looking for a place to hide. They meet up with Wenda the White Fawn. Wenda the White Fawn leads them in. The battle is in progress, which Wenda the White Fawn she had to leave the battle to go and lead Littlefinger and everybody in. That's fine. They all come in, and then in the middle of the battle, Catelyn sees Littlefinger,
has this realization that everything that happened for her, basically the last 5 years, all the bad things that happened to her in her life and her family are his fault. And she opens her throat. She opens his throat like he caused to happen to her, and like what happened to him in the Dragon Show. Opens his throat with Sansa watching and Bran watching through the trees.
Bran, this could go down on the Isle of Faces. I don't that's additional tinfoil, but you could merge so many plot threads together in one masterclass swoop with this.
Am I correct in saying that there's she's on a Weirwood throne, right?
I don't remember.
There's I think there's Weirwoods in her cave, but that's okay. That's not the craziest part.
That's not the craziest part. Like, if we're going pure tinfoil, like, what's the craziest, most awesome way this could end? We might as well have Bran watching.
Yeah, right. We might as well have Sansa there too. We might as well have Asha show up and have her crash it with a gender reveal party.
How many point of view characters do we have on this specific paint page here?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fewer than I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And 7 if you count. Where's Merritt? There he is.
Yeah.
Now, Zach, I loved this. People on the internet were like, "That end sounds implausible," and I was like, "Yeah, but it does sound awesome."
Correct. The ending we prefaced 4 or 5 times. This is entirely just speculation and hype. This it is built on a very loose pillar of tinfoil.
And so, in answer to that, we have made this stream, and it seems that we left it ambiguous, right? We left it ambiguous as to whether that, and in spite of the fact that we said this is tinfoil, the above is the real theory, right? We left it ambiguous at the end there somehow. So now I want to clear up any ambiguity and say, I want to reiterate that this is what we believe will happen, and come and fight us. Come and fight. I'll fight every single one of you nerds.
I think the level of confidence in everything is in the order in which we say it.
No, Sansa is gonna BLJ down from the Eyrie with
you gotta draw the arrow from the BLJ to the Sansa.
Right, I'm sorry. We gotta do this. You're right, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I wouldn't want to state that without evidence. Sansa's going to be there, and then of course, we forgot to mention this. I'm taking off my sarcasm hat here. It would also be awesome because Catelyn has Rob's crown, and I think that it is if Sansa does happen to be there, it's entirely reasonable that she gives the crown to one of them.
If Sansa's there, she could get crowned like she does in the bad the poorly written dragon show. I don't want to say bad dragon show.
Why don't you want to say bad dragon show, Zach?
Because of bad dragon.
Are you talking about Drogon? No, you're talking about Viserion. Viserion was the bad dragon.
You should definitely Google bad dragon sometime.
Everyone at home, just Google image bad dragon. It will give you a Song of Ice and Fire results. Yeah,
that's definitely what you'll get. I guess I don't have to worry about saying fuck in your video now if you're going to tell people to Google bad
dragon. That's okay. This is on a different channel. This isn't a family show.
Look, we're going to get into my Asha Greyjoy pregnancy fan theory later. I think we can safely say this. Not a kid show.
All right, I really do want to reiterate one more time. None of this is a meme. We're confident in all of these, and we'll fight every single one of you.
I will say we led with the stuff we're most confident in.
No, we didn't. We actually led with the stuff we're least confident in. We're most confident in Catelyn Tully as the crown. I'll fight every nerd on the internet.
we're most confident in Arya and Sansa both backwards long jumping to exactly where their mother happens to be in the middle of the wilderness. That's the part where I know there's no textual evidence, but it's confirmed.
I got 2 words for you here, Zach. Parallel universes.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that's our show, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. I hope to see you in the comments. I have my knuckle dusters ready to go.
Thank you to all 7 of you who watched all the way through this hour and 40-minute fucking theory.
Goodbye.